hospital, labor delivery, doing a checkup. So we're doing a stress checkup on him. I had a lot of decreased fetal movement, and we just want to make sure that he is okay. So I opted to come in and do a stress test. So they hook you up to monitors and you can hear him in the background, his heart rate. We're looking for like heart accelerations, and so I'll be here for maybe like an hour to 2 hours. Also, I'm watching my contractions, and it's so funny because I don't feel them, but they're happening. So yeah, it's just really nice to be able to have this option to, you know, check on him, make sure everything's okay, give me peace of mind. The fact that he's not moving, his heart rate's a little lower than normal, which happens. I'm 41 weeks now today. So we're just gonna, you know, play it by feels, and also, you know, be able to have, it's just nice to be able to have this option to check on him. So we'll see how his testing goes, but so far everything's really great. And then hopefully I can go home and wait. So I still have a week. I still have a week, but since I'm contracting, it looks like it might be soon. Hopefully really soon, but we'll see. Hello again. I have some copal that I'm going to burn just to kind of cleanse and clear my own personal space. This has been so I don't want to say stressful because that's the wrong word, but it's been challenging for not only me but my family. And as you can see, I'm really embarking on this home birth in a very adventurous way. So we're just gonna cleanse and clear the space. I'm still pregnant. I'm 41 weeks and 2 days. So the first video that you saw was a stress test that I started taking, or that I went and took because my midwife recommended it. On Friday, I have two midwives. So I have a primary, and then I have one that is available just in case my primary isn't available. And my first midwife stripped my membranes, and I immediately felt like a lot of pelvic pressure and really felt like it was stimulating my cervix. If you're not familiar with stripping of the membranes, basically your midwife or doctor will go into your cervix and create this little circular motion of stripping your membranes, so separating the bag of the waters in the cervix, just to start to stimulate energy in that space. And my first midwife, it was very gentle. It wasn't super uncomfortable, but I did start to experience light contractions. And then I got really nervous because I had decreased fetal movement from, for about 12 to 15 hours after that. So my primary midwife came over on Saturday and she re-stripped my membranes, and this time it was very intense. And we did 5-minute intervals of just watching him, and she just suggested that I go
into the hospital where they have a team of midwives and hospitals, they work together nowadays, so that's very relieving. And they just hooked me up to some monitors, and we did some stress tests where we just monitored his heart rate for about an hour to 2 hours. His heart rate is lower than it's been, so it's 110 when it's normally been 140, which happens. I mean, I'm post-date now. It's like, you know, my body's showing signs and symptoms that my organs are now struggling to expel toxins and stuff like that. And the emotion is the hardest part. It really is. Not only just for me, but for my family. And I'm trying to find a balance between that right now, and it's not easy at all. So after that, I also noticed that I was on the fetal monitor, I was contracting, which I wasn't really sure if they were contractions. It just feels like pressure to me. They're about 4 to 6 minutes apart. And then I came home, rested, woke up at like midnight, and I was up until 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's just a lot of this. I was trying to stimulate labor, get the contractions really going, breast stimulation through breast pumping and doing my birth prepping postures all throughout the night. And then between like 5 and 7 a.m. I tried to lay down to go back to sleep, and he was just moving so much he wouldn't even let me. So I was like, back up. And then I fell asleep for a little bit, got up, started my tinctures again, starting the herbs, really just doing everything that I possibly can to stimulate labor. And I started having contractions 45 seconds long, still 4 to 6 minutes apart, and just a ton of like bloody show. So I'm just having consistent, like bloody show, and that comes from the cervix, the membranes being stripped from the cervix. But it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for my family. Really hard. Because you just don't know, and there's no set in stone date. So I had the conversation today with my midwife about a hospital induction. I'm not happy with it at all. So it's kind of like decision day. And I don't want to have to decide that. My midwife's heading over here soon. Just gonna check to see how much I've progressed since I've been contracting consistently, and depending kind of on that and what her and I are gonna discuss, it's really gonna be whether or not I set an induction date. So I just wanted to cover that really quick because I hadn't even had the discussion. Been avoiding it that much. But my body's not tipping over, and my contractions aren't catching, and my midwife still considered me a really good candidate for home birth. I still have 4 more days, but with my family, they're kind of it's been a journey. So if I go into a hospital induction, they're gonna administer Pitocin. I'm 3 centimeters, I'm like a solid 3.5 centimeters dilated right now, and about 75% effaced, pretty soft cervix. So I'm right there. My midwife keeps saying, you're at the end, you're at the diving board, all you have to do is jump. And I'm like, yeah. I would jump if I could physically just do it. I would have already jumped, but there's something else emotionally blocking me, and I'm pretty sure it's fear. Not fear of the birth, but fear of bringing him into this world and just dealing with past traumas of what's happened to me in this lifetime. Hasn't been an easy road for me, and I really don't. This birth, I want to. The reason why I chose home birth is because I want to release that trauma through the birthing process. So I want to use the physical pain to release the emotional pain, which is why I don't want drugs. I don't want to not feel this. That's the whole point, that I want to release. So administering the Pitocin, I could still go without, an epidural and all that stuff, which I will most likely go through. At 4 to 5 centimeters, they possibly break my bag of waters. I have to have an IV. Good news is they would give me low doses of Pitocin to start, and as soon as they see a pattern with the contractions, they'll back off and just keep it there. So that's good. I'll have to have a COVID test, and I'll have to wear a mask even during birth. Episiotomy, I can refuse the episiotomy. If you're not sure what an episiotomy is, it's where the doctor will cut your perineal just to create more space in the vagina for the baby to come through, so I will be refusing that. The good thing is, with the fetal monitoring, that's non-negotiable, but they do have a wireless system, so I could still be mobile. No home birth, bathtub, so I won't be able to use the water, and what I want is a water birth. Water's my element. I'm all fire, so water soothes my whole entire entity. So that won't be possible. I'll be able to change positions and using a birthing ball, walking around. I can bring like a heating pad. The baby will still go straight to me. This hospital, there's a midwife team, so they're very respectable, and I felt really safe there. The nurses and the doctors and everybody were extremely kind, and if this is the route that I have to go, then this is the route I have to go, and it will be okay. It's just decision day, and I don't want to make the decision. They'll hold off on cord clamping for about 5 to 6 minutes. He will never leave the room, which is good. The only thing I'm concerned about is they'll probably want to keep me for 36 hours because of the baby. They want to monitor the baby and do all those things. But my midwife is actually going to be taking care of me and the baby for even 2 months after the birth. My midwife will be there, so she'll be more acting like my doula versus my midwife. So she won't be delivering my baby. I won't be catching my baby in the water. There's just a lot of things that I have to shift my mindset into, and I don't want to. So that's where I'm at. It's not very joyful. I'm not happy. And luckily I'm not bawling my eyes out. I've done that enough already. But my midwife did just text me, so she'll be on her way soon. And we're gonna talk more in depth about it. But if I choose this route, then it'll be tomorrow morning that I will be choosing to get induced, because if I'm gonna induce, then I'm gonna wanna do it where it aligns with everyone's schedule. And it'll be okay. I did write a prayer for birth. thinking about holding a little prayer ceremony, depending on if I post this video or not. I'm gonna wait till after my midwife comes and we have the discussion, and if I schedule the induction, then I'm probably gonna hop on my Instagram live, and I'm going to recite this prayer. I've only written 2 other prayers, and one is the winter solstice, and I wrote a prayer for someone who was on the verge of losing her life, and it was an incident where multiple people were involved and multiple lives were changed because of it, and I had to remove my emotional self from a situation and give all of my light and all of my love to hopefully bring energy into saving hers. And I wrote this prayer for her, and it just changed a lot in my life, and it was really hard, but it's probably the most beautiful prayer. I think it'll be the greatest prayer that I'll ever write. And then I wrote a prayer for a woman who I worked with individually who was on the verge of aborting her baby because she was fear, common denominator here of just preventing us from doing absolutely everything that we want in life, like having a home birth. But I wrote a prayer for her, and she started reciting the prayer and doing the work, and now she's in the best place that she's ever been in her life. She wrote a review on our Facebook page, Sacred Earth Life, and I am eternally grateful that I was able to be there for her. So now it's like me drinking my own medicine. I wrote a prayer of birth, and tonight is when I want to recite it because I want to conquer my fear, and I want to have a safe and healthy home birth. But I will be accepting of anything that brings him safely into this world. So, if you want to join in for the prayer tonight, if I post this video, then the prayer will be happening live. I'll do 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'll just hop on my Instagram. We'll do a clearing of energy, a little bit of breath work. I'll recite this prayer and ask you all to recite it with me. And then we'll just see. We'll see what happens within the next 24 hours. So, decision day is upon me. I just don't want to make the wrong one. So, thank you for all being on this journey with me. I'm sorry to my family and putting everyone through so much emotional, stuff. It's just something that I really, really want for me and my baby, so. This will be the last video that I'm pregnant, though, so no matter what, it'll be okay. Thanks for watching. I can't even wait to see how this all completes for me.